So it's been dope to record and actually like analyze myself and see like one, like how could I have said that better? How could I have communicated that to him better or communicated it for, the listeners better so they could better understand? How could I not have given a roundabout answer and got straight to the point so people can get where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. And like people seeing us just go through this process and grow together. It's really dope, like to watch. Yeah. Because I'm like, I've never seen myself in this light before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to say that, I believe that I'm this type of way and I communicate this type of way. But then it's like when you're on the camera going to tell you what you are because you can think you're a good communicator and that camera like, oh, no, you thought you were, know, so. What?
It's episode 14, baby.
It is.
We've made it. Like this is like it's the last episode of the year.
It's super mind blowing that we're actually doing this.
Right.
Like I know we're saying like, oh, it's episode 14, but I'm like the fact that we even made it episode 1. It's like crazy because we've been saying we wanted to do this for years and
since 2016.
Yeah, and it's what year is it right now? 2022? And we just now doing this like
right.
14 episodes ago, 13 episodes later. Like it's just I love it here. Like this is like I think it's because our conversations are so dope anyway, and it's just nice to be able to just share it. Like share, like invite people into our conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say that I'm so glad that we finally took the jump to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see how much we've really been intentional about trying to learn from our conversations about each other. Mm-hmm. As far as about like our relationship, about how we're developing together, and really getting to see inside of each other's mind all over again in this space.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really, really dope. However, we've had some difficulties along the way, and we've really tried to like find our way through the process, which has been tough, but I know that the most difficult thing is just getting started.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we've actually gotten started and started pushing through to just get it done.
Yeah.
And that we've been here and that we've been able to share so much that's actually helped people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the feedback we get is crazy because it's like, people are like, wow, y'all are really talking about real life. Like, these are real conversations that people should be having. And I'm like, yes, like, it's not about looking picture perfect on social media. It's not about the cute shit. Like, life, like I say, life be life, and like, let's talk about it. Like, we're all just trying to figure this shit out together. And it's just dope to be able to invite people into our conversations, and hopefully they get value out of it. Because ultimately that's the goal, but it's like, long as I want to get value out of it, you know what I'm saying? This conversation they're really for us, but we're just opening it up for people to, kind of chime in and peek in and see if they can, get something from it or add to the conversation.
Absolutely. I'll say that, in this show, you've pushed me harder than I can even express in words.
Because, we'll try to.
You've pushed me so hard in this show because, for one, I had some resistance initially even doing this in the first place. But outside of that, it's like I've struggled with, communicating, with really finding how I feel about certain things, being completely authentic and not just in some ways, rather than conforming and doing other things or whatever that are outside of me. Mm-hmm. Like, and you've really helped me get a hold of myself. And I'm really glad that we've been able to do this, because even in our episodes, we're able to look back and see the growth, because the people may not know, but we shot 5-6 episodes
before episode 1.
Before episode 1.
Yes.
That was never actually even published.
Yeah.
And through this, like, you've helped me realize so much about myself that's really helped me do a lot of self-reflection. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful for that, because I don't know if we could have gotten it any other way outside of doing the show.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. And I think what's funny is we both were, so ultimately I knew I wanted to be involved with you outside of just like our relationship. Like, I wanted us to start a business together. I wanted us to have something together, like business-like. So when you finally came on board, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. This is everything. But then I realized, I don't like being on camera. So how are we going to make this work? So like pushing myself to just freaking do it, Adoria. Like, it's okay just growing through the process. And I swear, like, I wouldn't be doing this without you. Like, there's no way I would have made it to episode 14. I wouldn't even made it to episode -5. Because we did those 5 episodes first. Like, I wouldn't even made it that far, because I felt like you really helped me get out of my own way in this space.
Yeah.
Because I was like super scared of being on camera. Like, I don't know why, but I was.
Well, I'll say this, baby. You can't be one dope couple by yourself.
You damn right. You damn right.
Like, it really is kind of a 2-person thing. You know what I mean?
Hence couple,
Right. But I'm glad that I've been able to do this with you. And the fact that we've really been able to not only have these conversations, but really kind of learn ourselves where we are today, because a lot of these questions, that we've talked about, a lot of the topics that we've discussed aren't things that we actually communicate and talk about in our day-to-day life. Mm-hmm. And so actually having something to give like a focus to has really helped us see each other in a new light from the people that we are today. Yeah. And I think that that's been so dope, because it's really been like getting to know each other all over again.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we've had that chance. And the fact that you've been a form of therapy for me, because I've really had to do a lot of self-work in this process.
Yeah.
And people may not realize it watching the show, but a lot of the stuff that happens in us filming this, it doesn't start and stop with the show.
Yeah.
It's like the show happens, and then there's conversational growth after the fact.
Yeah.
There's us watching it and then talking about the things that we've learned from each other after the show.
Yeah.
There's, feedback that we give each other. And there's us actually learning more about each other through watching how we actually produce the show, and we actually share content, all of this different stuff. And you've really helped me. You've helped me see me in a different light, mm-hmm. and do so much more self-work that I didn't even know that I needed the way that I do.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think any of that could have happened without us doing, this show and having this type of space to be able to do that, because it's literally like a video diary.
Yeah. And what's funny is I think we literally talked about this a couple of days ago. You were saying how filming is really looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, you're really looking at yourself and not real. Like, it's a lot of stuff about myself I didn't even realize. I didn't realize I move my hands so much. I didn't realize how animated I am when I speak. Like, I never really noticed, like how really vocal I can be. Like how I can be when I speak. Because I'm me, so I don't see it. But like seeing it on the camera, I'm like, I didn't notice that. I've never known that about myself. Yeah. So it's been dope to record and actually like analyze myself and see like how could I have said that better? How could I have communicated that to him better, or communicated it for, the listeners better so they could better understand? How could I not have given a roundabout answer and got straight to the point so people can get where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. And like people seeing us just go through this process and grow together. It's really dope, like to watch, because I'm like, I've never seen myself in this light before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to say that I believe that I'm this type of way and I communicate this type of way. But then it's like when you're on the camera gonna tell you what you are, because you can think you're a good communicator and that camera like, oh no, you thought you were,
Right.
So, but it's been dope to grow from this, and I can't wait to see on our 100th episode, like we looking back at these first
Right.
14 episodes and like, ooh, girl, yeah, you could have did that better. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, because I feel that way now because, first off, let me apologize to everybody watching the show.
Uh-oh.
I know I've always been kind of a rambler, and I go on thought trips. And seeing some of the episodes where, like, your boy get into a thought bubble, and I'll be in that thought bubble 4 and 5 and 6, 7 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I swear it's not on purpose, but I know now that this is not the place to really be finding my thoughts the way that I typically do, as far as talking myself to having an epiphany around how I think and feel about stuff. And even if it may be of some value or whatever, but I don't think that me doing it in that way adds the value that's needed for the show.
Yeah, because the show is not about Trump finding his thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I know that there's better ways for me to communicate.
Yeah.
But I never would have learned that without the show.
Learned it.
I'm still saying
I love it. I love it. Don't take it away. That's like my favorite word that you say.
I don't think it's going nowhere.
It.
Like until learn leave me, I don't know if it's going anywhere. But I don't think that I would have had the opportunity to really realize that without us having the communication that we have in this form.
Right.
And so I'm learning that even though I feel like I always have been an attentive listener, I always have been somebody who cares deeply about, what people are saying to me and what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes after having watched the show, I can be so into what another person is saying that I'm listening for the right response rather than actually feeling what you're saying and then actually speaking from my heart. And sometimes it doesn't happen the way that I feel like it needs to, or in a way that would be the most genuine and authentic, because I'm putting helping somebody above understanding where they're coming from, and just letting them know that, you know what, I hear you and I feel what you're saying without having a perfect answer.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I prioritize having the perfect answer. And that's not intentional, but it happens. And this platform has given me the opportunity to see that flow. And I'm grateful for it. Like it's really exposing me to me.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I've also had you to be able to give me feedback after the fact to show me that you've been like this for XYZ amount of episodes, or this is a pattern, or I feel like this on the show, or whatever. Like the communication that we have after the fact really helps me find a better way of doing some of the things that I've done, because again, like we never want to portray the fact that like we're perfect or we got it all together. We don't.
Yeah.
We're really trying to figure this stuff out together. Yeah. And this is our opportunity to be able to showcase that on an open forum.
Yeah. And even with this, like going back to communication, like I feel like our communication in general is really good, but this show is really helping us make it even better.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the dope thing about it, because we're really learning and growing on like, okay, how can I better communicate with you? How can I get to the point better? How can I make sure you know that I'm feeling what you're saying? Like, how can I show you that I'm really understanding and I care about what you're saying, like physically, and I'm actually not, trying to just respond to what you're saying. It's like, no, I'm really like dissecting it and processing it so I can get a better understanding of who you are now.
Yeah. You've given me a lot of reality checks.
Because I love you.
And I appreciate it. Like it's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Like taking some of that stuff in and I'm like, damn, but she's right. Like all I can do is accept that feedback because I don't want to fight it. I just want to acknowledge it and then address it because it's like, well, my wife, she knows me better than anybody. Like, you know me better than anybody. So if I'm coming off a certain type of way to you, how am I coming off, to other people that are listening that don't know me from nowhere?
Yeah.
So I really take that stuff in and I'm like, okay, well, how can I work on improving these parts of me that would allow me to be able to communicate what I'm saying and the message and all of this stuff better for the people that are listening. But sometimes, in all love, not even thinking about the people that are listening, really paying more attention to what you're saying,
yeah,
and being present with you in this moment, because a lot of times our conversations really are just us talking.
Yeah.
And like we said before, the people just kind of get to listen in on that. And me thinking more about being here with you than being out there with the other people that are watching, because right now it's just us.
Yes.
And I need to treat that as such.
Yes.
And I'm really having to make that a point to realize that, because I'm depriving you of my attention and giving you the proper feedback and all of this stuff that you need in the show, because I'm thinking about saying the right thing for the people that are watching. And that's...
Come on, reality checks.
That's not right.
Yes.
And I'm learning that.
That's awesome. That's good. That's so good. I love it. I love it. That's good.
Yeah, like I said, I never want to give off that impression, that we got it all figured out, because we really are trying to grow through this process. We really are trying to figure out how to be better for ourselves and for the people that we serve. We really are trying to learn how to be better communicators, not only for ourselves, but for the people that watch us and get value from what we share amongst each other.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for this opportunity, because, again, I don't think that there could have been any better way to do this.
Yeah.
And but something I do want to ask you is, what's been some of those biggest moments for you of like self-reflection and things that you've learned about yourself throughout these past, 13 odd episodes or so that we've shot? Like, how do you view yourself today compared to when we first started? Like, explain your growth for me, if you can.
Explain
if you can.
My growth from the show. I think I'm definitely more vocal. I'm more confident about speaking how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like I'm definitely more comfortable being on camera. I think recording it, I already said this before, but it helps me better communicate with you, which is the ultimate goal for me. But me communicating better with you also helps me communicate better with baby. It also helps me communicate better with my clients, with random people in the world. So just how bettering myself in one area with you actually pours over into many other areas with other people.
Yeah.
And the other relationships that I have. Yeah, shit. I think that's about it.
No, I get that. Like it ain't always got to be that deep.
Yeah, it's really not, and just I just want to I want to keep pouring myself into the show. Yeah. Like that's all I want to do. I want to keep growing. I want to keep discovering parts of myself that I love, and parts of myself that may be flaws that I can work on. Because it gives me something else to strive for. But I love doing this. I love doing this with you. It's probably one of my favorite things to do right now, yeah. Honestly. Because this is our first time actually working together.
Yeah.
So it's just a beautiful thing to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very beautiful thing, and it's so eye-opening. Mm. Because I could say, along the same lines of what you just said, this has been a huge growth period for me, because I'm learning I'm learning more about myself, not only how I show up on the show and in our communication, but also things that I've realized about how I interact with friends, how I interact with baby girl, how I interact out there in the world or whatever. And I didn't realize it until I was able to look back over and I'm like, you know what? This is a character trait. Like, this is something that I do regularly. I need to improve on that. I didn't know that I was being this type of way or that I naturally show up like this. I didn't know that I could give off this type of perception. And so it's really been a very, very hard look in the mirror. And even though, people do and have gotten value out of what we've shared, throughout some of the episodes, they've allowed us to see certain things in ourselves that other people may not have seen because we know us.
Right.
And those looks in the mirror have been so critical and necessary as far as how we manage our relationship between each other and how we communicate between each other and how we receive feedback about the way that we're actually doing it. Because I can say, like you mentioned before, I can say that I think that I'm a great communicator. But then when you on the outside looking in, and then that freaking red dot come on,
you be like, what?
And you looking at yourself, and you like, oh, you know what?
What did I just say?
You giving yourself way more credit than what's actually due.
Facts.
Facts. Yeah, and it's like you look. It might happen. Like you might have one episode, but then you look at it and see like, look at that 5 and 6, 7 odd times or whatever. You might start to think something differently, or that you can do some things a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so I will say that over these past months that we've been doing this, I'm so grateful for the intentional reflection that we've been able to have together and being able to come together after the fact to talk about ways that we can improve. Again, not even for the show, but for us.
Yeah, and I also think it is so dope, your ability to take feedback from me. Because I know, like, some of the things I've said, like, it ain't been, like, not that it hasn't been nice, but it's, like, it might hurt a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Being a man, like, you like, but I'm grateful for your ability to know that I'm coming to you out of love and because I support what your goal is. You said your goal is to be a better communicator. So if I'm not saying, babe, you could probably do this a little better, I'm not fully supporting you if I'm not giving you feedback. So I'm grateful for your ability to know that, or to receive my feedback and to know that it's coming out of love and my support for you. And you're able to take accountability for that. Because when you look back at the episodes, you're like, you know what? You kind of right. Like, yeah, there's no lie. Yeah. No cap. No cap. That's what they say.
The real me wanted to, I wanted to hit you with a lane, but
they did be real.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna let you slide because I see that you're trying to get your hip on, your cool on.
I be trying. Baby girl be trying to teach me stuff.
Right. Okay, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, you know what? It's like, to be serious though, like, it's not always easy taking feedback, but because I know your heart and I know that you have my best interest always at heart, and because I know when you tell me things, it's because I've done something that's made you feel a certain type of way that I might not have realized. So if an action that I've done or a character trait that I've had for a while or a way that I've done certain things for a while, if it conjures up a response from you because you're thinking about it in a certain way or it's making you feel a certain type of way, then to me, that says pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Like, put my feelings aside and say, okay, what is it that I'm doing? and how is it making you feel? And then again, we have the actual show to where you can look back and be like, okay, what actually happened?
Yeah.
Because it's documented.
Yeah.
The world has seen it. Like, okay, well,
right.
she say you
can
did
play it back. You can play it back, bro.
Exactly. So there's no debating it.
Yeah.
Look back at it 3, 4, and 5 episodes or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I receive what it is that you're saying. Yeah. I can be better. Yeah. I can practice and I can do my best to evolve out of this habit that I have. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. Even if it stings a little bit, I'll be all right. I'll get over it.
Yeah, because ultimately you said your goal was a specific thing. And the sting, it just got to be a sting. You still got to work on whatever it is you said you want to fix. So, well, you know. But I'm just glad that you're able to kind of take that sting and be like, you know what? I did say that I want to get better at this. And then she's my wife, so of course she should correct me if, you know, I say this is something I want to do. So
yeah. And I mean, I value the way that you feel.
Yeah.
I value the things that you say to me and how my words make you feel. So I want to make sure that in us doing this, that you feel like you're contributing at the level that you want to, that you feel like your thoughts and your opinions matter, and that you also feel like it's not one-sided or all about me or whatever the case. Like
I think naturally you talking with me anyway.
That's true.
Like that's just naturally, like I have one word and you have 1,000. Like I mean that is a big difference. And that's not even just with the show. That is just everyday life. You always have 1,011 words to say, and that's just who you are.
I don't know if I'm feeling how much these words keep.
So when you got 1,011 words in comparison to my 1.5, then naturally you're gonna talk more to me anyway. But that's just something I know about you. So it's just one of those things where we have to navigate together to where we're like, okay, well, you talk a little bit and then give me a little bit of room. But I'm probably naturally not going to be able to say as much as you because that's just not my personality. I'm not the type of person who just, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think you said it in the nicest way, but I know what you're saying.
Baby, stop. We talk about how talkative you are all the time. That's just your natural being, like, since I've met you. And the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you talk. So but that's okay. That's just who you are. And I enjoy that about you. Like, I enjoy your process, but the show is just sometimes not the place for
I get it.
For that.
I get it. We're learning
through it. We're learning through it. We're growing through it. And then it's like, okay, like, knowing that, it's like, okay, well, Adore, maybe you just need to talk more. But then I'm the type where I'm like, I just don't be having like a lot to say about stuff all the time. Like I'm not just going to be filling the air with words.
Yeah.
So that'd be my thing too. Like if I say something, I want it to actually be relevant and not just be like talking. So, I mean, I guess that's my own dilemma.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even a dilemma. It's just how you are.
Yeah.
Because I can make one statement and then I make that statement and that statement make me feel another type of way.
I know. And then you go, Thought Trip Tron. That's what you should be. That's your name. No.
Thought Trip Tron. And Blanket Bag.
Thought Trip Tron. That's facts though.
I can't remember a time in my life where that was my bad. It's good too.
I know, it's mine.
But I can't remember a time in life to where I wasn't like that. Like my mind will literally run and thoughts will evolve word after word. And I am not trying to overwhelm the people with that attribute that I have. So I'm learning to confine it because I also need to be able to learn, one, how to get to the point way faster and how to process my thoughts and feelings in my mind and then give the summarized version of that in the show without doing all of that in word vomit.
Mm.
So this has been the platform that is helping me tame that character trait that I've had for life.
Yeah.
And that's where we at with it. Well, that's where I'm at with it. Because, yeah, man, it's me. But to deny it, like I'd be lying. But it's all good though. I mean, that's been one of the big things about us doing this show though.
Yeah.
Us learning how to become better communicators, us learning how to, have insightful and meaningful conversations in this type of forum, to where it's not only helping us grow, but it's also being able to help other people get some new perspective and stuff like that. So it's not completely selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just about us,
right?
But it's also with the thoughts of, hey, you guys may not have thought about this before.
Yeah.
And let us just tell you the way that our minds think and operate as of right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you feel differently, please share it with us, because we're not against that.
Right.
We're trying to actively figure it out together.
Yeah.
And we invite different perspectives.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's important to know that, like, when you're talking about your own perspective, there's really like no right and wrong when you're discussing perspectives. I can only talk to you from my perspective and my experience, and you can only talk to me about your perspective and your experience. There's no right and wrong. There just is.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. So like when people like disagree with us, I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's great. You disagree. But why do you disagree? Like, what about your human experience has made you come to the conclusion of a disagreement against what we said? Like, and that's where I'm like, I don't care if people don't agree. I want to know why, because you can add to the conversation and we can all grow together.
Yeah. And that's so wild to me, because as many times as we've said that, I've looked back at episodes that we've shot together, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't know if I'm completely with that idea.
Yeah.
And that was only like maybe a couple of weeks to a month ago.
Okay.
Because thoughts and feelings, they change.
Absolutely.
And
as
so
you
when
evolve,
we say,
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we're like, hey, we invite different perspectives because we're trying to figure it out. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Literally.
And it's not like we never saying that, hey, we got it all figured out. Like, if you have a different way of thinking about something or seeing something, share it. Like, we're not going to say like, oh, you wrong. Oh, your way of thinking about XYZ is the wrong answer, whatever. Right. No, because we're not saying we perspectives. We're not saying that we experts.
Okay.
See, my mind was thinking.
Yeah, it was going. It was going. I know. Yeah. Triptron.
Anyway, but we're not saying that we're experts.
Yeah.
We're saying that we have a certain perception based off of our life experiences.
Yes.
And how we think and feel today.
Yes.
And if you have a different perspective, we welcome you to share that, because it might open our minds up to think in a way that we may not have done before.
Right.
Because again, most people don't have the conversations that we have. And at least in this particular type of structure and environment, we can have it and other people can have the thoughts, and they can be able to bring those thoughts to their forefront and be able to create their own perspectives based off of their experiences.
Right.
So we're all trying to help each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely with that. And we've talked about that off camera many times. Oh my God. I think it's dope when people disagree, because I want to know your perspective on what we said, and if you agree, that's great too. But I still want to know your perspective, like what made you agree.
Yeah.
So, that's a part of having a communication, is everybody having their own space to have the dialogue.
Yeah.
Like
it's okay to
and judgment free. Judgment free. It's just like, I just want to see what you're talking about. Like, I just want to understand you. I just want to see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people's idea of what's right and wrong, sometimes is very different. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
And again, none no two relationships are the same.
Yeah.
None are the same.
Yeah.
And your relationship dynamic, a lot of things could work for you in your type of dynamic that won't work for another one.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have something that's completely different, obviously you think and feel differently about some of the stuff that we might say. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of the points that we try to push is the fact that thinking and feeling and operating differently is okay.
Yeah.
Be authentic to yourself so that way you can be happy within your relationships with the people that are in your life, be it a spouse, be it a partner, be it yourself, be it your kids. Think, feel, and operate the way that feels best to you and makes you happy and that feels the most genuine and authentic to you.
Yes.
And damn what everybody else got to say about it, because you're not living for them. You're living for you.
Yes. And you're the only person who has to deal with the consequences of whatever that is.
Exactly.
And that's really what the thing is. A lot of people go out here and they're like, oh, I want what this person has, but they get it and they're like, oh shit, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it. And now you stuck. Yeah. Or now you're trying to figure out how to get out. You know what I'm saying?
Or you're miserable because you felt like your life was supposed to look like somebody else's life. Or your relationship was supposed to look like somebody else's relationship. Right. But you don't have what that other relationship may have necessarily. Or in the same way. Your values may be different. All of those different things. But being true to yourself is a gift. And I don't think a lot of people understand that being able to live life and be true to yourself and being able to experience the gift that is, I don't think a lot of people understand the value of that when we live in a world where everybody's really trying to be like somebody else. So many people are trying to be like what they see somewhere else.
Yeah.
So many people are influenced by what they see online or what they see when they go to wherever they go out in the world.
Yeah.
And that robs them of the values that they have in their real life and what they actually feel.
Yeah.
And so I can be open and honest about it to say that in us doing this, it's really helped me personally shave off a lot of the fluff. It's helped me shave off a lot of, different fake thoughts and feelings and emotions that weren't necessarily me, but me taking on things that I've seen that inspired me or that made me feel like I should operate differently. And then I have to realize, like, man, you know what, Tron? That wasn't you. That wasn't you. That was you thinking through the ideas of somebody else. But if you get back to who you are, what do you actually think? What do you actually feel? Is that even important to you? And I've had the opportunity through doing this because it's documented.
Yeah.
It's published.
Yes. And your wife gonna tell you.
That too. That too. Yeah, man, this has been a beautiful season of growth. And I'm so glad that I've had the opportunity to do it with you. And I know that it's only the beginning.
Yes.
Like, we barely getting warmed up.
Thanks. That's definitely the truth. I'm excited to see everything we're working on now coming to fruition in the upcoming months.
So what are you looking forward to in this, the future development of the show and who we're becoming in the future and what's coming in 2023? Like, what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to. I guess like the evolution of the show. I want to get people on the show to ask us questions, maybe like interview style type stuff. Something we've talked about is, getting into coaching. So that's something that I highly desire because I'm already a personal, trainer. So coaching is kind of my thing. So I'm definitely excited about going down that route with you because I think it'll be great for the both of us. Yeah, I guess That's really it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'm down for all of that. Yeah, I definitely want to get I want to get some people on the show as well to be able to see what their thoughts and feelings are. Also to ask questions too, because
Yeah.
I just as much as I care about the way that we think and the way that we feel, I want to see what other people's perspectives are around certain things too that challenge our ideas.
Yes, absolutely.
Because again, we could be doing something and there could be a whole completely better way of doing it.
Yeah.
That we unknowingly would agree with.
Yeah.
But we just don't know it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely looking forward to becoming better in the way that we communicate, in the way that we share our message, and learning to tell stories, learn to be able to communicate messages better, and learning to do certain things within our communications way better to be able to further add value, not only to the people that listen, but also in the way that we naturally communicate day to day as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to just growing.
Yeah.
Like just growing and then seeing what happens in the activity.
Right.
Because, I mean, you can only get better by taking action.
Doing. Yes.
By doing.
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to the people being able to follow us and walk with us through that growth.
Yeah.
So that's important to me. And it's up.
Is it stuck?
It could be. It really could be.
Oh, okay. You're so silly.
You can have people that think we lame, bro.
We are. We are.
Nah, we ain't lame, man. Lame. Corny. Super corny.
Definitely corny.
Nah, I ain't lame.
But I like
ain't no lame, though.
Corny is cute. I mean.
It's worked out. Ooh. You was about to direct. You directed that at me.
But you are the corniest. You are the corniest out of the both of us.
Flip the script.
Okay.
Fellas, I'm going to tell you something real quick. I don't care what nobody tell you. Being corny in your relationship is a cheat code. The reason why is because most dudes nowadays, because of social media and the other stuff that they seeing, aren't willing to do that and to be that. And chicks be feeling it. They like somebody who could kind of take off that hardness and be corny and cute with them because it's not typical. There's so many facades out here of dudes that are trying to be hard, the big boss and all this other stuff, which is cool. There's a time for that. But at the same time, somebody who could be goofy and silly and make them laugh and be like, man, what the fuck? You know, like, hey, it works.
I love it.
May not work for all, but it works. I'm just saying. But anyway.
It worked. It worked for me.
It worked for me. If it don't work for you, I'm sorry. Disregard everything I've just said. And I accept no liability for whatever happens because of your actions. But yeah, a lot of guys out here trying to be the exact same. And so being a little different could possibly work in your favor. But anyway, I'm looking forward to the development of this show.
Totally different direction.
Nah, man, because you tried to play me, but I just had to let mothers know that there's some real benefit in being a little corny. And it might be
clearly, I'm evidence of that. Like, I can call you corny, but I'm with corny. So what does that make me? Corny.
I'm glad you admitted it.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm okay with accepting that. I never said anything was wrong with it.
Yeah. There's a difference between being corny and lame, though.
That's facts. Like, I agree. Yeah. We're not lame. We're definitely corny, though.
You be doing some lame shit sometime, though. But,
facts. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll accept that.
Different story.
Yeah, we
can talk about it. Anyway. Hey, family, it's been wonderful. Thank you for taking this ride with us, this far. And there's so much more amazing things on the way. And thank you, my love, for...
I think you just called me lame.
Yeah, big lame. But anyway, thank you for being with me through this journey, for helping me see more in myself, and for helping me also grow through some of my own imperfections and things like that that I need to work on. I'm grateful for you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing what this grows into and becomes with you by my side.
Me too.
I love that.
You had a lot of words.
No, I just wanted to.
I wasn't expecting you to.
I wanted to put some finesse
come with
on
all it. Okay. Yeah, made it a little spicy.
Yeah, because it's up
and stuck.
and it's stuck.